Good morning, first grade. This is Mr. Morocco continuing with a story. Today, read aloud of Judy B. Jones, Boss of Lunch. So, yesterday we were reading chapter 5. We were reading about how Judy B. Jones is going to be the helper, or she thinks the boss of lunch, to help Mrs. Guntsman. We see that she gave a permission slip to her parents and they approved it. And now let's see what happens when she starts her first day in the lunchroom. All right. Chapter 6, Boss of Lunch. It was the funniest dream I've ever had. I looked exactly like Mrs. Guntsman, except I had my own face. Also, I had my own apron and my own plastic mitts and my own hairnet. I was a vision, I tell you. I worked my hardest in the kitchen. I washed all the carrots and made all the hoagies. Plus, also, I ate all the sugar cookies. After a while, room one came into the kitchen with their trays. The children saw how hard I was working. They called me boss of lunch, and they skipped around in a happy circle. After that, they carried me all around on their shoulders. May did not participate. I waved at her when I went by her, and then a duck flew and chased her out of the room. That morning, I woke up laughing in my pillow. And guess what else? At lunch, my day kept getting better and better because I gave Mr. Scary my permission slip, and he let me go to the cafeteria at 10 o'clock a.m., and so I hardly did much work. Mrs. Guntsman was delighted to see me again. She said I could start helping her very soon. But first, she wanted to show me around the kitchen. It was the hugest kitchen I've ever saw. It was a kitchen a giant would have. Look at how big everything is, Mrs. Guntsman, I said. Look at that big dishwasher over there. Look at those big refrigerators. And whoa, look at those big sinks. And that giant freezer. I kept looking. And look at that big can opener. And look at this big floor we're standing on. And look at these big walls. And that big switch. And those big Mrs. Guntsman interrupted me. Okay, let's move on, shall we? She said, I'd like you to meet some of the other folks here, Judy B. After that, she took me over and introduced me to six grown-ups. I waved at those people, kind of shy. They waved back. Plus, also they said welcome. But this is the best part of all. After I met all the people, Mrs. Guntsman opened a big drawer. She handed me a big giant white apron. My mouth fell open in that huge thing. You mean I get to wear this? Mrs. Guntsman, I said. I get to wear an apron just like yours? Wow, wow, wowie. This is my dream come true. Mrs. Guntsman winked at me. Well, sure, don't you to mess up that pretty flower dress of yours, do we? She said. After that, she pulled the apron over my head. She tied the straps around me. I looked to the ground. The apron came down to my shoes, almost. I twirled and twirled all around. Ooh, I love this apron, Mrs. Gutsman, I said. This apron makes me feel like a princess. Mrs. Gutsman said I have had a good imagination. After that, I put my mitts that she had given me, and I twirled some more. Now I have a whole complete outfit, practically, I said, real happy. And then, what do you know? All of a sudden, Mrs. Gutson reached into her apron and she pulled out a hairnet just for me. She pulled it out of my head. Oh boy, thank you, Mrs. Gutsman, thank you, I squealed. And then I zoomed to the oven and stared at myself in the glass. Look at me, just look at me. I look like a professional lunch maker, I said. After that, I stared and stared at myself some more, and I couldn't even stop. All right. Next, we're going to read chapter 7, tomorrow, we're going to see what happens when Judy B. Jones enters the cafeteria during lunchtime and see the other how the other children will react to her being in the lunchroom. I want you guys to think about that and then think about it before we read the next chapter. All right, thank you, first grade. See you tomorrow. Have a great Wednesday.